All right, guys. So another good feature of the Maximum Motorsports 8.8 ear housing bushing removal tool is this cup that comes in the kit. I actually use it for another purpose as well, and that is to remove the ball joints out of a lower A-arm. So here I have a stock lower A-arm that we're going to reuse. And what I'm going to do, now this A-arm is upside down, so this is the bottom, but it's facing up. This cup fits perfectly around the ball joint of the A-arm and saddles in the A-arm perfectly. So keep in mind that this is upside down. I'm going to flip this whole thing over, and I'm going to take it to the press, and I'm going to use my plate between the beams, and I'm going to press down from the jack, and you'll see the ball joint will fall into this cup. And as you can see, guys, it is pressing down. So now that the ball joints are pressed out, what I'm going to do is go ahead and start removing the rubber portion out of these bushings. Now these bushings are sold, obviously you can get a stock brand new replacement with rubber with the steel shell that presses in the A-arm. You can do polyurethane. You have two options when it comes to the polyurethane. Both Prothane and Energy Suspension sell the complete bushing with the metal shells that you would press out the shells out of here and then just press the whole unit in. They have a third option, which is kind of what I opt for, and what it does is it reuses the shell that's already pressed in the arm. So all you have to do is remove the rubber and the center sleeve, obviously times 4, and then what you can do is slide these in. And here's the kit. The part number is 6205BL. I think that's for black. They have them in red also, so pick your color. So what they give you is 4 bushings and 4 center sleeves. So the goal here is just to remove the rubber. And what we're going to do is use a drill bit and just gonna, we're going to run the drill in. And as it's turning, you'll see the drill will walk itself around the rubber, between the rubber and the shell, and it'll dig in, and you'll just go in a circular pattern until it goes all the way through. And what you'll notice is that the rubber will start to break free from the shell, and then you can go ahead and remove it. So it takes a few rounds to do it. It doesn't come out instantly, but it will come out. There's a few different ways to do this. I've heard of guys taking torches to it. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to, just do the drill. The stock A-arms, you're probably asking, well, why don't you just get some aftermarket tubulars or, some BMRs? There's a couple reasons for that. Number one is probably the price point. Well, actually, no. The number one reason is for tubular, they come in a couple different options. I'm going to go with the stock style spring setup. So I'm using, the coil springs and then stock style replacement struts, Monroe, made in USA. So most of the tubular lower A-arms, as you guys can tell, they don't have the spring perches in there. So that's, if you're going to use coilovers, which again, I'm not going to use. The other point is, I think BMR sells a tubular lower A-arm with a spring perch, a pair, and it already comes with the, with the urethane bushings and whatnot. I would love to go that route. I feel like the price point for those doesn't really match the value that I can get with just reconditioning these myself. I feel like if it was maybe a different price point, I probably would go with the BMRs. But for the bushing kit, the ball joints, and just go ahead and blasting these and cleaning them up, and my time and labor, I think I still come out ahead with just doing this. And also, yes, these are heavier than a tubular A-arm. However, this is unsprung weight, so yes, it does. A tubular A-arm would definitely be lighter, but as far as the sprung weight, it's not going to be a difference. But I'm not going to be drag racing this car anyway, or it's just a nasty street car. So that's just kind of the route I go. So by the time I'm done with these, they'll look pretty good and be functional. Also, I'm going to add the SN95 ball joints. When it comes to ball joints, there's a couple different ways you can do this with a stock A-arm reconditioning. You can use a stock Fox body ball joint if you're going to use that. Now, all this is determining if you're going to use a 94-95 spindle or 96-04 spindle. So if you're using stock Fox spindles, obviously just use the Fox ball joints. But if you're going to go any SN ball joint, 94-95 or 96 up, there's two different ways you can do this. You can get the Fox ball joint and press them in like normal. If you're going to do that, you'll need a 330 thousandths steel spacer from when the A-arm, or excuse me, when the spindle sits on the ball joint. Before you put your castle nut on, you're going to need a 330 thousandths thick steel spacer, and then you run your castle nut on, and then you run your cotter pin. And that takes up the slack between the thread spacing on the Fox ball joint to the SN spindle. Those are available through LMR and everybody else. What I opt to do is I just go ahead, since I'm going to put new ball joints anyway, I just went ahead and got an SN ball joint from Moog. You know, just got a pair of them, greasable ball joints, stock style replacement, made in USA. And I'll just go ahead and press those in, and that way I don't have to deal with the spacer. My SN spindle will match perfectly on the SN ball joint, which is pressed into a Fox A-arm. So anyways, guys, let's get started. I'm going to go ahead and drill these out, and hopefully I can I can film and drill at the same time. So let's get to it. All right, guys, so what you'll want to do is actually put the drill bit in reverse, and you'll try to drill in between the rubber and the metal sleeve. And then it'll just kind of go in a circle like this. And the drill bit will just kind of guide you until you'll just work that sleeve loose. And just keep doing this on both sides, and your sleeve will come out. And then you can do the same thing for the rubber, between the rubber and the shell. All right, guys, it's kind of worked its way loose. And there's the center sleeve. And then after that, you can just work the rubber out of the shell. And this is what we're left with. I'm just going to take a wire wheel on the end of a drill and just clean up the inner bores of these bushings, or these shells, excuse me. And that'll be the end of that. And then we'll just go ahead and make them cosmetically sound, scuff them down, spray them, and then we'll press some ball joints in. All right, guys, so essentially this is what you're left with. I just took a wire wheel on the end of my Milwaukee and just went ahead and cleaned out the bores. And so there you have it, nice and clean. And then we'll go ahead and put the bushings in and press the ball joints in. All right, guys, so here we are. So one thing I want to note is if you're using a stock style replacement lower A-arm, both your bushings, front and back, are actually two different sizes. The back bushing, so this is like an aerial view of the car. So this is the passenger side. This is the driver's side if the front is about where my hand is. So you'll notice that these sleeves, now you can't tell from here, but these sleeves are just a little bit longer. They're about 125 thousandths longer than the front sleeves. Also, if you match them up with the bushings, you'll know, because these longer bushings fit perfectly flush with both ends of, or excuse me, the sleeves fit flush with these polyurethane bushings. Same thing with the shorter sleeves in front, fit flush on both ends with these. The only other thing that I'll note is that just like stock, the ears will face the outside. So what we're going to do is I'm going to cut one of these packets open. I'll probably end up using both of them, but you want to grease the bores as well as the sleeve once it goes in. So you can see all the bores have been cleaned. And so what I'm going to do is just grease all these up and then start sliding the bushings in. Now the bushings may be a little tight, that's fine. You may have to take a rubber dead blow and tap them in. But once that's done, we're going to press the ball joints in. And once the ball joints are in, we're going to go ahead and paint these. I kind of scuffed them down roughly just to knock some of the scale off. But after that, again, we'll make these things cosmetically sound and we'll be done. And here we are, guys. Here's all the bushings finally installed. And I scuffed down the scale just a little bit. Not going to go too crazy on it. But let's go ahead and put some ball joints in. All right, guys, one ball joint is pressed in. 7-old bearing race, pipe. Same Maximum Motorsports cup. It keeps coming up, guys. Great tool to have. And then on the press. So it's pressed in from the bottom up. And this one's ready to go. We'll just do the other one and we'll get to painting. All right, ball joints are pressed in and the boots are on. One thing about these boots is they're marked with inboard, so that way in case there's excess grease it'll squirt out through the inboard side. But yeah, these Moog ball joints are awesome. They're part number K8749. They are made in USA and they are for 94, 95 Mustangs. Also, if you get these ball joints, just don't forget that it comes with the grease fitting. You'll have to thread that in. It's got self-chasing threads, and also it comes with a castle nut and a cotter pin, so it's per side. We're going to go ahead and mask some of these areas up, and we'll go ahead and prime and paint. And here we are from paint. Like I said, guys, I didn't spend too much time on these. I mean, you're hardly going to see them. I mean, they're going to get nicked and scratched anyway, but they are pretty presentable. I'm going to go ahead and remove all the masking tape and see what we have. And here we are, guys. Final product. So yeah, as you can tell, you can save quite a bit of money if you do something like this, just rebuilding your old A-arms. I think the bushings were maybe $60, $70, I think, and I think the ball joints were maybe another, gosh, I can't remember, probably about that. So maybe 150 bucks out of pocket. I don't know, I spent probably a couple hours on these from start to finish. You know, I think it's a good way to go for a street car. So all right, guys, well, just wanted to show that to you.